Mountains are not merely landscapes of stone and elevation. They are dynamic laboratories where immense pressure, heat, and tectonic force quietly manufacture one of Earth's most coveted metals. Deep beneath colliding continents, invisible fluids charged with dissolved gold migrate through fractured crust, waiting for the precise structural trigger that will force them to release their hidden cargo. In the chaos of seismic pulses, shear zones, and metamorphic transformation, microscopic gold complexes suddenly collapse into solid veins that can stretch for kilometers. What appears at the surface as a simple quartz vein is, in reality, the frozen fingerprint of continental collision. To understand orogenic gold is to uncover how mountain building itself becomes a metallogenic engine, and how the architecture of the crust dictates where extraordinary wealth ultimately forms. Tectonic framework and fluid generation. Orogenic gold deposits are fundamentally products of convergent tectonic regimes, where lithospheric plates collide, subduct, and thicken the crust. These environments are not merely structural backdrops. They are thermodynamic engines that drive metamorphism, fluid production, and focused mass transfer across large crustal volumes. The architecture of an orogen, its subduction complexes, accretionary wedges, magmatic arcs, and collisional belts, establishes the physical and chemical conditions required for gold mobilization. At convergent margins, oceanic lithosphere descends beneath either continental or oceanic crust. Progressive burial of hydrated oceanic crust and sediments initiates devolatilization reactions. Hydrous minerals such as chlorite, amphibole, lawsonite, and mica destabilize with increasing pressure, temperature, PT, conditions, liberating aqueous carbonic fluids. These metamorphic fluids are typically low salinity, CO₂-rich, and reduced in character. As convergence continues and crustal thickening intensifies, regional metamorphism affects broad crustal domains, commonly reaching greenschist to amphibolite facies conditions, approximately 250 to 450 degrees Celsius and 1 to 5 bar. In collisional orogens, particularly those developed along Archean and Proterozoic cratonic margins, crustal shortening may exceed hundreds of kilometers. Thickened crust enhances geothermal gradients and promotes widespread metamorphic reactions. Importantly, the brittle-ductile transition zone, generally located at depths of 8 to 15 kilometers, becomes a critical interface for fluid accumulation and release. Here, differential stress, permeability contrasts, and cyclic seismic activity create dynamic pathways for upward fluid migration. Gold transport within these systems occurs predominantly in solution as bisulfide complexes, most commonly OHS2. This transport mechanism requires reduced sulfur species and near-neutral pH conditions, both typical of metamorphic fluids generated during devolatilization. The solubility of gold increases with temperature and sulfur activity, enabling fluids to carry significant concentrations of dissolved metal over large distances. Unlike magmatic hydrothermal systems, where fluids are often saline and directly associated with intrusive bodies, orogenic systems rely on metamorphic fluid production distributed across extensive crustal volumes. Large-scale transcrustal fault networks are indispensable to this metallogenic process. First-order structures, such as regional shear zones, thrust systems, and terrain-bounding faults, act as high-permeability conduits that focus fluid flow. These structures may penetrate deep into the crust, tapping metamorphic fluid reservoirs and channeling them toward higher structural levels. Fluid flow in such systems is rarely steady. Instead, it is episodic and commonly linked to seismic cycles. Periodic fault reactivation enhances permeability, allowing pulses of overpressured fluid to ascend rapidly. The interplay between fluid overpressure and tectonic stress is central to the tectonic framework of orogenic gold formation. As metamorphic fluids accumulate at depth, pore fluid pressures may approach lithostatic conditions. When faults rupture during seismic events, sudden pressure drops occur, dramatically altering fluid stability. This fault valve behavior not only facilitates fluid movement but also sets the stage for subsequent gold precipitation higher in the system. Orogenic gold provinces are frequently associated with greenstone belts and accreted terrains, where mafic to ultramafic volcanic sequences provide chemically reactive host rocks. The Abitibi Greenstone Belt represents one of the most extensively studied examples, illustrating the relationship between Archean tectonics, regional metamorphism, and structurally focused fluid flow. Similarly, the Yilgarn Craton preserves evidence of crustal-scale shear zones that once transmitted metamorphic fluids responsible for world-class gold endowment. Crucially, the tectonic framework does not merely generate fluids, it dictates their pathways, pressure regimes, and chemical evolution. Structural anisotropy, lithological contrasts, and progressive deformation collectively govern permeability architecture. Without sustained convergence, crustal thickening, and active deformation, the metamorphic devolatilization necessary for gold transport would not occur at scale. Thus, in orogenic systems, mountain building is inseparable from metallogenesis. The collision of plates initiates metamorphism. Metamorphism generates fluids, deformation focuses those fluids, and the crust itself becomes a dynamic conduit through which gold is mobilized. The tectonic framework provides both the energy source and the structural skeleton for one of Earth's most significant gold-forming processes. Structural controls and gold precipitation mechanisms. Orogenic gold deposits are inherently structure-controlled systems. While metamorphism generates the auriferous fluids, deformation dictates where those fluids migrate, accumulate, and ultimately precipitate gold. The spatial distribution of mineralization is therefore not random. It reflects a hierarchy of crustal-scale to deposit-scale structures that regulate permeability, pressure regimes, and fluid-rock interaction. At the regional scale, first-order transcrustal structures, major shear zones, thrust faults, and terrain-bounding deformation corridors serve as primary fluid conduits. These structures commonly extend tens to hundreds of kilometers and penetrate deep into the mid to lower crust. Their longevity and repeated reactivation during progressive orogenesis create sustained pathways for focused fluid flow. Within these high-strain zones, permeability is dynamically generated through fracturing, grain size reduction, and ductile, brittle transitions. Gold-bearing fluids ascending along these structures rarely mineralize uniformly. Instead, mineralization localizes in second- and third-order structural sites where dilation or permeability enhancement occurs. Such sites include fault jogs, relay ramps, fold hinges, fault intersections, and competency contrasts between lithologies. In compressional regimes, shear zones may develop localized extensional domains, dilational jogs, where transient open space is created. These structural traps are critical because they allow fluid pressure to decrease rapidly and facilitate mineral deposition. A key concept in orogenic gold systems is the fault valve model. During periods of tectonic loading, low permeability fault segments may trap fluids at depth, allowing pore pressures to rise toward lithostatic conditions. When shear stress exceeds rock strength, sudden brittle failure occurs, dramatically increasing permeability. This seismic rupture enables rapid upward fluid discharge accompanied by an abrupt pressure drop. Because gold solubility in bisulfide complexes is pressure-dependent, this decompression destabilizes the dissolved gold species and initiates precipitation. Repeated seismic cycling produces episodic pulses of mineralization, often recorded as banded quartz veins and crack seal textures. Pressure reduction is not the only precipitation trigger. Fluid-rock interaction plays an equally significant role, particularly through sulfidation reactions. When reduced, gold-bearing metamorphic fluids encounter iron-rich wall rocks, such as basalts, komatiites, or banded iron formations, chemical exchange reactions occur. Iron in the host rock reacts with sulfur in the fluid to form pyrite or arsenopyrite. This sulfidation process consumes reduced sulfur species, destabilizing the gold hydro-sulfur complex and forcing gold to precipitate as native metal. In many deposits, microscopic gold is intimately associated with sulfide grains, reflecting this chemical coupling. Temperature decrease and fluid mixing may also contribute to gold deposition. As fluids migrate upward through the crust, they cool progressively. Although cooling alone may not always be sufficient to trigger large-scale precipitation, it enhances instability of gold complexes when combined with pressure drop or chemical reactions. In some systems, mixing between metamorphic fluids and externally derived fluids, such as meteoric waters in shallower structural levels, further alters redox conditions and pH, amplifying precipitation efficiency. Deposit-scale geometry reflects the structural framework. Orogenic gold ore bodies typically form steeply dipping quartz-carbonate vein arrays within shear zones at depths corresponding to the brittle-ductile transition. Ore chutes often exhibit strong plunge continuity, controlled by intersections between shear fabrics and secondary structures. These high-grade zones may extend for hundreds of meters vertically, emphasizing the importance of three-dimensional structural analysis in exploration and mine planning. Classic examples illustrate these principles clearly. The Kalgoorlie Super Pit demonstrates how crustal-scale shear systems localize gold within Archean greenstones, with mineralization concentrated along major deformation corridors. Similarly, deposits within the Mother Lode Belt reveal strong alignment of gold veins along regional fault systems formed during Mesozoic orogenesis. Ultimately, structural controls govern not only where gold precipitates but also the scale and continuity of mineralization. Deformation generates permeability, seismic cycling drives pressure fluctuations, and chemically reactive host rocks facilitate sulfidation. In orogenic systems, tectonic stress is transformed into metallogenic architecture, and the geometry of faults becomes the blueprint for gold concentration. Deposit architecture, alteration, and exploration criteria. Orogenic gold deposits exhibit a distinctive architectural framework defined by structural focusing, vertical continuity, and predictable alteration footprints. Unlike disseminated or intrusion-centered systems, these deposits are structurally anchored within crustal-scale deformation corridors. Their geometry reflects the interaction between regional tectonics and localized permeability creation within the brittle-ductile transition zone. From a three-dimensional perspective, orogenic gold systems are typically organized around steeply dipping shear zones that may extend for tens of kilometers along strike and several kilometers at depth. Within these zones, mineralization concentrates in discrete, high-grade, or chutes. These chutes are not uniformly distributed. Rather, they form where favorable structural geometries intersect with optimal physico-chemical conditions. Common controls include fold hinges within shear corridors, intersections between first-order faults and subsidiary fractures, and zones of competency contrast between lithologies. Vertically, orogenic deposits often demonstrate remarkable continuity. Mineralization typically forms at depths of approximately 5 to 15 kilometers, corresponding to pressures of 1 to 5 bar and temperatures of 250 to 450 degrees Celsius. Although erosion exposes these systems at the surface, their original formation environment was mid-crustal. The preserved architecture frequently includes laminated quartz-carbonate veins, stockworks, breccias, and shear-hosted disseminated sulfides. Vein arrays may display crack-seal textures, reflecting repeated cycles of fracture opening and mineral precipitation during episodic seismic activity. Alteration halos surrounding ore zones provide critical insight into fluid pathways and chemical exchange processes. Carbonatization is among the most diagnostic features, commonly expressed as the development of anchorite, dolomite, or calcite in wall rocks. This alteration reflects interaction between carbon dioxide-rich metamorphic fluids and host lithologies. Sericitization, characterized by fine-grained white mica replacement, often overprints feldspar-bearing rocks, indicating potassium metasomatism under moderate temperatures. Chloratization is widespread in mafic host rocks, recording iron-magnesium exchange during fluid infiltration. Silicification, expressed as quartz flooding or vein selvages, frequently accompanies gold deposition and may extend outward from the main shear zone. Sulfide mineral assemblages further define deposit architecture. Pyrite and arsenopyrite dominate in most systems, often accompanied by minor pyrrhotite, chalcopyrite, or galena. Gold may occur as visible native grains within quartz veins or as submicroscopic inclusions within sulfide crystals. The spatial relationship between sulfides and structural fabrics is critical. Mineralization commonly aligns with foliation, shear banding, or extensional vein sets, reinforcing the structural control of or distribution. Regional geological context provides the first layer of exploration criteria. Orogenic gold provinces are typically associated with convergent tectonic settings, especially accreted terrains and Archean greenstone belts. The Abitibi Greenstone Belt exemplifies a classic setting where crustal-scale deformation corridors host numerous world-class deposits. Similarly, the Yilgarn Craton contains extensive shear systems that localize high-grade gold mineralization. At the district scale, identification of major shear zones is paramount. High-strain corridors marked by mylanites, transpressional fabrics, and fault gouge indicate long-lived deformation pathways capable of transmitting large fluid volumes. Geophysical methods, particularly magnetic and gravity surveys, assist in delineating structural trends beneath cover. Magnetic lows may signal destruction of magnetite during alteration, while gravity contrasts can reveal lithological boundaries favorable for structural focusing. Geochemical pathfinders constitute another essential exploration tool. Arsenic, antimony, tungsten, bismuth, and tellurium anomalies frequently accompany orogenic gold systems due to their association with arsenopyrite and related sulfide phases. Soil and rock geochemistry programs targeting these elements can detect mineralized systems even where gold itself is not directly exposed. Ultimately, successful exploration relies on integrating structural analysis, alteration mapping, geochemistry, and regional tectonic interpretation. Orogenic gold deposits are predictable in their fundamental architecture. They require a compressional tectonic framework, crustal-scale fluid pathways, reactive host rocks, and dynamic pressure regimes. Where these elements converge within a coherent structural network, the crust preserves not only evidence of mountain building but also the concentrated record of gold-forming processes.